Hi guys, this is Health Nibble number 110, and this is about childhood scoliosis. And I'm going to show you an example of when you catch things early on, you can potentially prevent some major problems later on and even into adulthood. So this is a case where I had an 11-year-old come in, and their pediatrician spotted that the shoulders were off and the hips looked off, and it just seemed like the spine wasn't straight. And so they came in here, we evaluated this child with x-rays, and then we have really sophisticated software to analyze those x-rays, so that kind of takes the guesswork out of everything. But you know, kudos to that pediatrician for spotting this. And you know, we did spot a curvature, so you can see this curvature here at the bottom, pelvic unleveling, and then you know, it's causing a thoracic curve too. So you know, in the medical world, a lot of times they just say, well, watch and wait and see what happens. But I'm going to show you some simple strategies to possibly and probably prevent future issues. And if there are future issues, we can definitely manage those. But you know, this is a pretty simple solution. So you see this curve, and if you stay back so you don't expose this person's name, I'm going to show you the side view of this one. So if you look here, the back of this vertebrae really should be lined up, and it's not, it's forward. So that's a spondy. That's called a spondylolisthesis. So it doesn't look like it's necessarily fractured, but it's definitely shifted forward. So, you know, I don't know if this child was born that way, or, but anyway, you have that sort of instability, and if it's unlevel, that's sure not going to help things. So it's just one more problem. So what we did was, rather than just watch and wait, which is how it's managed traditionally, I said, why don't we throw a heel lift in here? And we know that it's accurate because of the software. I'll address that in a second. But why don't we just put a heel lift in there and then let him wear that for a month and see what happens to his spine? Because you can see here there's clearly sacral unleveling. And so one point to that is that if you go to, so if somebody just takes x-rays but they don't have the software to analyze them, there's a measurement here that we look at pelvic rotation. So I don't want to get too complicated, but when you take a big 3D structure like a pelvis, sorry, so this pelvis is broken, but if you take this pelvis and you rotate it a little bit, it's going to look like one side's high and one side's low. And it's also going to look like this spine is all of a sudden has a scoliosis. So there's a measurement for validity, which is really important, because all of a sudden you could be treating the wrong thing. And we have this, it needs to be under 5 millimeters. And so we know this is 4.3, so we know my staff took an excellent film and that this is really accurate. So I want you to see, while we did, oops. I said, let's not overcomplicate this thing. Let's just put a heel lift in there. So let's level the foundation and see what happens. And you cannot do that if you don't take x-rays with this type of software. If you just do it based on visualization, you don't know if a person, if he didn't have this simple curvature, if it was a big rotation, you could make things much, much worse. So in this case, if you look, we let him have a heel lift, or put a heel lift in, or a shoe lift, I'm sorry, it's a full foot lift, for a month, and look what happens to his spine. And then it actually straightened out.
I want to see this.
Yeah, so you can see this is taking off in that direction, which it continues to. And here it straightens up. And it straightens up all the way up. And on posture analysis, I mean, everything's straightened up just from straightening the foundation. Super simple solution. If he spent the rest of his life or his growing years with this crooked or unlevel sacral base, I mean, who knows what would happen to his spine. So, a couple things. You don't always need big treatment to correct scoliosis. Sometimes it can be simple, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's really complicated, and we've had previous health nibbles where we've showed those complicated cases. The other case is an argument for taking x-rays on kids and taking x-rays in general. You know, you just get so much information, low dose radiation, the information outweighs that immensely. So that's your health nibble for the day.